Let's continue building our app, and just to make sure that everything is working, we have some red things here, and we kind of want to fix that. I forgot in the previous video, because these are kind of new things we're using because we didn't install the side menu, so all these things are actually aren't there right now. So it says cannot find name nav, cannot find name view child, and so on. And actually down here I forgot to do the semicolon here at the pages, so make sure you end the array with the semicolon. Sorry. The view name and the navigation. So we kind of want to fix those before going forward. And because we're using WebStorm, there's a really easy way to fix this. If we make sure to look up here, and up here we're going to add the nav to the import so the system knows we're using those. The same thing with the view child. It kind of needs to be imported for the system to know. Now we could manually write them up here. To the system, so like nav.this, and then you can see now it understands it down there. But because we're lazy and this is really a long name, I can just hover my mouse, click it so you can see it blinks in this, and press, in my case on the Mac, it's Option key and enter. And it says this import statement, and then just click enter. Yes, that's exactly what I want. And now it imports us up here. That's really awesome. Same thing goes for this. Click it, hit Option key, or I think it's Alt key on a Windows, and enter, and it's imported up here. So that's kind of whoop-de-doo. So now that's kind of done, and we can continue with our pages here. So let's remove this space here so it's a little bit more pretty. This is the array we created. We kind of want to populate this in our system so we can actually use this. Here it says constructor, and that's kind of, we actually used a constructor. So remember the mixins we used in SAS, where we kind of made it do things depending on the input we actually put in it. So this works in the same way as a mixin. That's kind of the same thing. Of course the text is different, or the code is different, but it's doing the same thing. It's building something depending on what's being put into it. In our case, we're going to put in our pages, so we're going to create what actually exists in these pages. And you can say it actually also start telling me array title, what I actually should put in, because it's awesome, it knows what I'm trying to do, apparently. And this is kind of the start for this. So now we can start adding things in our page. And we use the equal signs to assign value, like you would in CSS, you would just use this. But in our case, TypeScript and JavaScript, we're using the equal sign. Here, we're going to create an array, because array starts with this, so create the space between them. And in here, like with CSS, we use curly brackets a lot. And we're going to assign each page, and up here, if you remember, we wanted to have a title and a component. So first thing we're going to start with is the title. Oops, let's stay on the same line. And that was home. And we want the, it's already helping me before I even type C. Component. We want this to be the home page. And why do we want this to be home page? That's weird, dude. The reason why this is, we already created this, so that's why it already knows. So if I go to the home up here, home.modules.ts, we just put this in the previous videos, the entry component. So we're already telling the system where should I look for this, because I write home, maybe it's this one, components, awesome, it knows everything. Well, not everything, it knows a lot of things, of course. That's just for the home page we have here, and we're going to do the same for the next one. So title, we could have just copied the other one if we were really lazy, which I am, but now I'm too lazy to do it. Component, and not home page anymore, but sub page, and it also knows this because it is in my sub.module.ts here. So it kind of knows what we're doing because that's how we set everything up. So this is kind of the standard structure for now for our navigation that we're going to be using. We're adding a little bit more to this file later on to actually use the navigation button, so when you click it you go to this page. But for now that's kind of setting up and populating our navigation, and if we needed more we would just of course add them here and make sure that they're actually being put up here. So right now we have homepage, sub pages, it's importing these pages so we can use them, and we need to put them in here as well. So that's kind of what we need to do. And if we wanted it to start on the sub page, we would write sub page instead, but we don't want to, but just for example. But that's kind of for now what we want to create.